when we were looking at the house, we're looking around like, okay, so there's this, there's that. And we went up, and in Everly's room, which is the farthest room on the opposite side of the house, the front of the house, in the closet, which is also the hole in the ceiling to get to the attic, which wasn't floored. We had to put flooring down. There was a shelf. And on that shelf was one item, a 6-pack of toilet paper. What a stupid moron. I mean, the old woman, her bedroom was this room.
Okay.
Eventually, she didn't make the steps anymore. So she strung a rope from there across the room to hang her clothes on, and her bed was right here. And this was the room that I told you was neon green.
Okay.
What? Who took a thing of toilet paper, instead of putting it, I don't know, anywhere near the bathroom? Let's make it hard for old mom. I'm going to put it upstairs where she doesn't go anyway. But in the opposite side and up on a shelf. Who thinks to go there looking for toilet paper? And by the time you need it, you're not making those steps. But I digress. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the MacGyver podcast. I'm your host, Mac Jackson.
And I'm Nathan Schell.
And we got lots of catching up to do. A lot of, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, new series news. Because the more I read about it, the more I see that they're not even trying to connect it at all to the...
I'm getting flashes of young MacGyver.
Yeah. We'll get there. Just before we get into all that, how have you been?
I'm doing very well. All that stress of getting both podcasts up onto iTunes and Stitcher has subsided, and all is copacetic with the world, and categories are appropriate as they should be now.
Oh, which reminds me, everybody, if you're listening to this, that means you're either listening to it on Stitcher or iTunes. Chances are, no longer are we putting them on YouTube because it's just extra work. And thanks to Nate, as he said, we finally have this up. Do us all a favor, please. Not only go in and listen to it and share it, rate us. Rate us, give us a review, go out, share the love. Donations, always a plus.
Oh, absolutely.
If you
the more ratings we get, the more shares we get, the more easily accessible our podcast will be to everybody, and the masses will get to enjoy Mac and I waxing philosophically about MacGyver and all things Richard Dean Anderson.
Exactly. So please do that. It only takes a minute. There's 5 stars. Click on the 5th one.
Please.
And share it and ask others to do the same. That's really all we ask. If you do feel like helping us out, because we do now have to pay a site to host this, $1 would be swell. A shekel, as they say.
Yep.
Go to PayPal. You can look for my account, macwjackson@comcast.net, and just throw $1 in or something. It helps. Because come due time, it's going to matter. And we're not making a cent off this or the Never Gets Old podcast. It's a labor of love. So if you enjoy what you're listening to, share the love. So enough of that pleading. How goes your, you're going to do an audio version of your story?
Well, I'm still flip-flopping on that. I've got a rough outline done for my my story idea.
Sure.
And taking an idea that was originally meant for film, TV,
Mm-hmm.
and shuffling it for an audio format, it's a different animal entirely because instead of relying heavily on the visual element, now it's all audible.
Right.
So I went back to the proverbial drawing board. I'm still working on that, but I'm taking my time with it because it's not a format I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly but surely working on that. But I actually went back and I was looking at my notes. Pardon me. And I actually had a good bit of notes written as if I was going to do a book.
Okay.
Like character descriptions and such like that. So what I may do is, while I'm working on fine-tuning the podcast, or the audio drama aspect of it, I'm probably going to end up working on the story element as well. That way, possibly have something to market as the podcast is going through,
Sure.
Plus, it may end up helping me write storylines for the podcast as well.
Nice.
Kind of like a companion piece. Kind of like what they did with books for Stargate and the like when the show was on the air.
Right. Well, let's see. Different rants to share with you. In fun, not MacGyver news, today they released the first single from the Monkees. Their new album is called Good Times.
Yeah?
Yeah, it comes out, let's see. Soon. But anyway, just look for...
I love that date. That's an awesome date.
So specific. But today, and this is why I bring it up, the new single, She Makes Me Laugh. It was written by the guy from Weezer.
Okay.
He wrote it, and you can hear the Weezer-ness. I mean, to me, they've been a band that, Weezer, they're fun, but they're not necessarily the best singers in the world. So, listening to this, I'm hearing the fun, that sort of fun, bouncy kind of...
Yeah, they kind of found their groove, so to speak.
Right. But this has better singers. And it's Mickey singing lead and Peter and Mike doing the harmony. From what I understand, Nez has 3 songs on this upcoming album. But if you go to our page, I posted it on there so you could have a listen. The video's cool, too, because it looks like a comic book.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
And on the negative side, unfortunately, Paul Simon also released in June. He has a new album coming out, and he released couple songs that are going to be on it, and I just listened to them. Ouch. I'm less than impressed. Now, I love Paul Simon, don't get me wrong, but the last 2 albums have been more self-indulgent than radio-friendly.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like he's doing
more projects for himself than for the masses, so to speak.
Well, I mean, he's big on rhythm.
Okay.
He listened to an interview where he said about the drums. I'm really big on whatever the rhythm is, and I've been writing songs off of the rhythm and then putting in the guitar. Okay, well, it worked great with Graceland, but the next album was a little darker, and it still had that African feel to it, but the poppiness wasn't there. Rhythm of the Saints was the name of it. Well, the last 2 albums that he's put out, a couple of the songs have grown on me, but for the most part, man, I want to like them, but at no point will I ever have them going through my head or think, ooh, you know what I mean? You don't hear them on the radio.
Yeah, they won't stick with you, so to speak.
Yeah, but you could tell, he's happy with them, I guess, but now his new album's coming up, so I thought, okay, maybe. What are the odds it's going to be 3 albums in a row that are less than spectacular? Odds are looking pretty good.
That sucks.
One is called Papa something or other, but I just listened to it. And the other one is Wristband, Well, in the Papa one, he's cursing through it.
What?
Oh, go to my page on Facebook. I posted it and it went, ouch, not good.
All right, I'll have to check that one out too.
Yeah, it's very un-listener friendly. And then the wristband is, like I said, it's self-indulgent, but it's not listener friendly. I don't, you know. Jen Chapin, one of the things we go back and forth on, she agrees, is how he's lost something. He's not listening to what is commercially good, which I guess, you know, ultimately you don't want to go, you know, what are the producers saying and I should crank out more like Mrs. Robinson. Well,
Right.
In this case, I kind of think he should because he's not going to get airtime, you know.
Yeah.
But I digress. Oh, now you don't have kids yet, but you'll appreciate this. This past weekend, Mikey is 7 and Everly is 4, and I had to take one or the other to birthday parties this week.
All right.
I'm sorry, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Lovely.
Oh, buckle up, because yeah, and I don't mind. I'm the dad. I'm proud to be the dad. I'll gladly take them. It's not like I have to lift machinery or anything. I have to stand there and support them and, you know, whatever. The first one I had to take Everly to a bouncy house. Now, being the dad, I typically will handle Mikey's birthday parties. You know, it doesn't ultimately matter, but that's how it'll go. Or it's both of them invited to a party.
Which happens.
Sure, wonderful. In this case, I go with her. Pick her up. It's Friday at 6 at the bouncy houses. I walk in, and it's a girls-only party. Think of a boys' party, only more high-pitched screaming. No. It's fun, and it's fine, and I'm happy to stand there and watch them. But here's why I bring this up. There's a guy there. Now, first of all, I'm the only guy other than the father of the girl. There's no boys, no little boys invited. And so the father looks at me, and it's like he saw an island in the middle of the sea. Hi! Oh, hey! He's like pulling me in like, don't you leave, son of a bitch. Don't you leave. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? Good, you're not leaving, are you? No, I'm going to stick around. Oh, good. So we start to head out. We drop off the present in the room where they're going to have their cake and pizza and whatever. And we're all heading down to the big, they used it as a ice hockey rink.
Okay.
But now it has 6 giant inflatable bouncy houses. There's a guy there. There's another dad who's sitting out in the common area. I said, oh, hey, how's it going? You know, because you say hi to everybody. And I go, okay, come on. And I look at him, and he's just sitting there. He's like, go ahead, go do your thing. I said, you coming? He goes, no, I'm good. Now, I don't want to get on a high horse or preach, but gee, dear, is it that hard to come and support your kid? He's one of those guys who is sitting there on his phone, watching his sports or whatever, and he's there. I dropped you off. I'll be here to take you home. But in the meantime, I'm not bothering with my kid at all.
Wow.
So, well, wait, it gets worse. Because they're out there bouncing around for an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm very proud of Everly. She's independent. She doesn't need to cling to anybody. She's like, hey, I want to go check out that bouncy house by myself. I'm not waiting. And she, she's 4, so I'm very proud of her. Mm-hmm. And I'm walking around and watching her and talking to the other moms, the moms. And then when it's over, we start walking back. Mm-hmm. Just now, pizza time. Guy's still sitting there. I forgot about him. Now we're all walking in. Okay, pizza. Well, all the parents are going to walk in too and stand up against the wall. And you watch your kid and you look to be of assistance if they need a drink or their face wiped or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what you do.
Yeah, typical parent stuff.
This is what you do. It doesn't have to be exciting. Well, this guy's still sitting there outside of that room. I said, "You coming? You coming in for pizza?" He goes, "No, I had some nachos while you guys were in the bouncy house." Oh, you son of a bitch. Now, I rant to you because that just ticked me off so much. At no point did this guy come into that room to check on his kid.
Yeah.
He was just there. Let me know when it's time to go, and I'm going to keep my nose in this phone.
Yeah, see, that's a problem.
And then the next day, after Kempo class with Mikey, we went to his party that he had to go to, and it was laser tag.
Okay.
A couple blocks from here, where I live, there's laser tag, and the first time we went to one, all the parents were like, "Oh, we're doing this." Mikey had his birthday party at the laser tag place.
Okay.
Here's why it's fun. Because the parents get to do it too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Guess who kicks the crap out of all those little kids?
I couldn't imagine.
Oh, I'm all Jack O'Neill'd up. I go in, I'm wearing my black t-shirt and my green hat, and, I'm ready to go. And it's funny, too, because one of the dads that I see there all the time, he looks for me. He's like, hey, I'm going to kick your butt this time. I'm like, it'll be the first time. Get in there. And we shoot at each other. And he thinks he's clever because I go, ha! I'm like, okay, but guess what? After 6 seconds, my vest turns back on, and I get to shoot you as you're walking away. So, bam! Well, this time, and it's happened before, but it was really cool. I found a great spot where I'm up high, and I could just lean over the railing or whatever, and just pick them off. Ping, ping, one for you, boom, one for you, boom. And it's great. And if any kid comes running up on the opposite side, he goes, ha, ha, ha. One kid did. He goes, ha, ha, and he shot me. I said, ha, ha, you're surrounded by blue vests. We were the blues. They were the red. You didn't really think this out, because as you're talking to me, they're shooting you multiple times. Oh, and by the way, my vest turned back on. Bam, got you. Get out of here. And then when it was over, they usually give you a sheet where it shows how you ranked, how your team did. The girl comes out, and they get little teenagers to work it. And she's like, well, we don't have the sheets anymore, so everybody will have to come over and look at the screen. All right, so we walk over, and I don't know how I did. I don't really care. I had fun. And you work up a sweat because it's hot.
Oh, yeah, because you're...
no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Out in the arcade area, air conditioning. Inside there, no air conditioning. So that shirt that you were wearing that day is done for the day.
Yep.
But I was number 1 out of 30 people. Like, I kicked the crap, which means I got all the parents, too. And the guy, the father, who was always like, yeah, I'm going to get you. I said, oh, how did I do? Where do I see? And he walked over. It was great to have him walk over. He goes, you're number 1. I'm like, I know, but how did I do? He's like, no, you won. I'm like, all right. It was nice to see you again. I give him a little pat on the shoulder. And, yeah, we'll do this again next time.
You're such an antagonist.
Oh, well, you know what? I didn't start it, but, when he goes, I'm going to kick your butt, I'm going to get you. I'm like, dude, you're taking this way too seriously.
Yeah.
So when I win, and every time I go against him, he's like, ha, I shot you. And I'm like, at the end of the game, I show him my scorecard. I'm like, who shot you more? You. There you go. Walk away. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I'm sitting there afterwards while they're having their cake and pizza, and something inside me, I'm just like, okay, I'm done now. I think Cindy's taken Everly, because Everly had one then on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Cindy did that one. It's weird because I'm not doing anything stressful, but you're like, okay, so 2 parties in a row. You just your body just goes, all right, enough.
Yep.
At least I got to shoot some kids.
With with laser tag. Let's be a little specific, just me.
6-1 doesn't matter. So let's get talking about.
Oh, you were talking about musicians that you liked listening to earlier.
Sure.
There's a musician by the name of Lindsey Sterling. She's going to be having her third album coming out this year. Supposed to be sometime this summer, and she's going to be starting a tour again here, which is good. So.
Well, send me some of her stuff if you think I'll like it.
Yeah, I'll shoot you a link to her YouTube channel. She does a lot of. She's one of these people that she actually runs her own Facebook page.
Sure.
So she has that immediate interaction with fans and stuff. So.
Well, that was how I got the new Monkeys single to listen to. Was Mike Nesmith posted it.
Nice.
Like, here we go, let's begin, and it was, yeah. But what I try to do when I share music, like if it's somebody who I think, oh, first time with this, like if you didn't know who David Gray was, I know what videos I'm going to send to you to get you hooked. You know what I mean? So I do that with artists because here's what I'm worried about. Same thing with the Monkees or Mike Nesmith or Harry Chapin. People, if they just type in those names, well, you're going to get Cats
and everything.
No, well, yeah, but more specifically, you're going to get only Cats at the Cradle or I'm a Believer, or Babylon from David Gray. And I'm like, yeah, but everybody knows those songs. Let's get to the guts. Let's. So I skip over. I know specifically, like, okay, if for some reason you're insane and don't like this stuff, well, then I'm done trying to sell you on it because this is as great as it gets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, skip through it's all right. It's okay. Like, no. Boom, right away. Here's the stuff that if you're paying attention, this will move you. This will affect you. But then,
this is what you want from music.
The only drawback is that, that I'm like, okay, yeah, there's that one, but then there's this one, and then there's this one, and then there's this one. Don't forget this one. But, okay, so I've been dying to talk about this. The two places, as I always go for my MacGyver news, is MacGyver Online. Mm-hmm. What is their subtitle? The Complete MacGyver Resource and Community page. So, I don't get to contribute to their forums as much as I'd like to, but I'm doing a podcast about them, so they just have to understand. Also,
I think they get it.
Well, yeah. Well, I had one guy decide to get all mouthy. It's funny how you only post on here when you want to share the link to your podcast. I'm like, yeah, because I'm contributing. I don't have time. Oh, by the way, I'm a dad, too. I'm a singer-songwriter. And it started going down the list of things that I do, and I'm like, so as much as I'd love to sit here and take your abuse, I'd rather contribute to the world. And then the nice guy one of the guys who runs MacGyver Online jumped on and went, I'm so sorry that he does not represent us. You can do whatever you want. We're happy to have your. And I'm like, thank you very much.
Yeah, because that guy gets it. We're fans that. What do you want, Brooke? Do you want to hold my hand? Okay. Sorry, the dog is sitting here looking at me like, hi, I want attention now.
Yeah.
It's like we're fans, but we also have other things that, demand our time, such as, songwriting, performing, dogs that just, for whatever reason,
Well, and that's the thing, too. One of the things I said was, hey, I'm doing the MacGyver podcast. Why don't you cut me some slack? How about that?
Yeah.
And the other place where I get my news is Kate's website, richarddeananderson.com, RDA Anderson, rdanderson.com, because she'll get direct contact from him, as everybody knows. But anyway, I want to give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
But starting, here we go. One of the first casting people for this new show. So, boy, isn't it funny? I want new MacGyver things, but I want MacGyver right. I don't want anything that just slaps a MacGyver logo on it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this and I'm like, crap, it's getting closer to happening. And apparently they're still planning on doing a movie, which is separate from the TV show.
Well, that could be a saving grace depending on if it's better than the show.
Well, or vice versa. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Again, let's just get into the news. Here we go. So, MacGyver announced his first cast member, and it's someone who I like very much and was afraid I wouldn't see ever again.
Who's that?
George Eads. Eads. From See It?
Oh, Nick. Okay.
Yep. Nick Stokes himself. Now, when he left CSI, I thought, and this is no reflection on the actor, once you have a hit show and you are known as something, and it's not being pigeonholed, it's just the hand you're dealt. It's very hard to become a regular on a new series.
Absolutely.
And he was one of those guys that when CSI was over, I thought, I love him, but I hope I see him again. But
yeah, it's like I don't know what role he would be good for. Yeah.
Right. Well, not only that, I'm thinking like The Office. We haven't seen as many people from The Office on other things, and if they are on other things, you go, oh, it's him from that could all change next week. But
yeah.
Okay. What's it say? Okay. He will play the role of Lincoln, a 55-year-old war vet who knew, and this is where it gets scary for me, who knew MacGyver's father and tried multiple times to rescue him from the Mazzari, without success. Now, when they say MacGyver's father, like, oh crap, unless again, I'm still clinging to hope that they're going to wise up and make it be continued on from the right series.
Mm-hmm.
When they say MacGyver's father, well, that means that it's not going to be Richard Dean Anderson.
Well, no, it makes sense because Richard Dean Anderson's older than 55, so.
Right. Well, he doesn't have to match the same age as Lincoln.
Yeah, but.
And also, this is more important.
But here's the thing. If you have somebody playing a character that's 55 years old and someone who's playing I love Richard Dean Anderson, but he's my mom's age, almost within a couple months.
He could be the grandfather. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Very easy. Let him be the grandfather. Have Sam, or another kid that MacGyver has had since the series went off 20 years ago. Let him be this father that they're talking about.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. I know it's not Richard Dean Anderson because it says, tried multiple times to rescue him. Do you think MacGyver needs rescuing? Do you think MacGyver's like, I need someone to help me?
If the only way MacGyver would need saving is if his ass is in a coma.
Exactly.
Even
then, he got out of that.
True.
So, okay, so.
Wow.
Wait.
Okay. Yeah, I've purposely been avoiding any kind of discussion about the MacGyver.
Well, no, you know what? This all came in while we were working on trying to get the freaking thing on iTunes.
Well, I believe it.
This is the first podcast.
We've had the chance to chat about it, yeah.
So, let's move on. Lucas Till, and I don't know him as a person, I don't know him as an actor, I haven't seen the new X-Men yet, whatever. But man, they are not using a good picture of this kid. Anyway.
Lucas Till?
Till, T-I-L-L, is cast as new MacGyver, as though there could be a freaking new MacGyver. Again, give me a second here. After what seems to be a long process, CBS has finally found their star for the MacGyver reboot. God, I hate that word so much. I can't take it.
Oh, okay. I recognize the character he played in the X-Men movie.
Angel.
No.
Yeah.
No, he played Havoc.
That's the guy. That's the kid who was Havoc?
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Yeah. Here. I don't know.
I'm looking at a picture of him, but he's got the long hair. But okay.
The picture I'm looking at on IMDb, he's wearing a suit and he looks...
Ring in the middle. I can't see from the way you have your phone. But anyway,
I can't tell if you're seeing it or not.
It's okay because I'm reading. Oh yeah, there you go.
Not too bad looking. I mean, it's kind of
okay. Go to go to the picture that they're using for the announcement. You just went to IMDb. That's not fair. If you want to see what they're trying to sell.
Sorry that I use IMDb.
Yeah, because wait, you'll see what I mean. They're trying to sell us because they take a picture of him with the long hair.
Gotcha.
You can go to MacGyver online and see what I'm talking about. But anyway, let me read it.
All right.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It does say Havoc. I read somewhere where he was Angel. That's why I was having problems picturing him. 25-year-old Lucas Till, best known as Havoc in the X-Men franchise, will take over the title role from Richard Dean Anderson. I have a little vomit in my throat.
I could hear it.
Yeah, not about the actor, just about the whole freaking premise. Joshua Boone from Fangirl has joined the new MacGyver series as a regular with George Eads. Set to co-star in the pilot as Lincoln. Okay, here you go. Joshua Boone is going to be Lincoln. No, George Eads is Lincoln. We just read that. A conspiracy theorist who works for the government. Joshua Boone will play the role of Gunner, MacGyver's best friend from high school. The casting announcements cap off a long search which was hindered by CBS picking up the pilot without a script and promptly changing writers, while shortly after the announcement, James Wan, who was set to direct the pilot, also dropped out due to scheduling conflicts, but I believe he's in charge of the movie that they're still planning on. Okay? So you got that? Gunner? He's going to have a...
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the picture, and I mean, I see why they used that picture, but...
Somebody did a side-by-side of MacGyver during the 5th season when his hair was long and snotty.
Yeah.
He's got, like, the smile on his face to try and, like, look out close. And people are like, nope. You're not selling us. No, thank you, but no. And here we go. Addison Timlin and Michelle Krusiek?
Yeah.
Okay. Join the MacGyver cast March 29th. The CBS MacGyver casting team have shifted into top gear with another 2 casting announcements today. Californication's Addison Timlin, right? There are pictures there. Has been cast as the female lead opposite Lucas Till in CBS's reboot of the iconic 80s and 90s, by the way, people, action/adventure show MacGyver, and will be joined by Hawaii Five-0 recurring cast member who I don't remember her on there, but okay, Michelle Krusiek. Timlin will play Mickey, Mickey,
Mickey, I think.
Okay. An app developer who's aggressively progressive in her political views. Oh, crap. With a soft spot for MacGyver. And Krusiek will play Agent Croy. That's how you... Yeah. Lincoln's sister, George Eads, who works for the Department of Homeland Security. So I'm thinking this show is going to be, instead of it being him starting to work for the DXS and then the Phoenix Foundation, they're just going to go right to Department of Homeland Security.
Which...
It's a clandestine,
Yeah, which, having it set in today's world, that would make sense, but...
Yeah, but so is the Phoenix Foundation, only it was like a secret,
Yeah, but that was also back in the 80s when, we didn't have all this other...
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a think tank, so you know what I mean? Like, But anyway. They both joined the already match. We already know that. We've seen 20... Okay. Which will see... A 20-something MacGyver recruited into a clandestine organization from the original series...
Various acts problem solving to prevent disasters.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before I go on my rant about the CBS, is where this is going to happen. And it really got me thinking of, ooh, you know what? They have not had the best track record lately. Richard Dean Anderson's mother passed away. She had gone in for a procedure, I guess, for her heart. I'm looking at some of his things, because he does check in with Kate on the MacGyver or the Richard Dean Anderson website. And they're just quick notes, but a lot of talk about, oh, mom will be, getting her surgery, dropped her off, she's doing great.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, she just took a turn for the worse and passed away. But he was there with her when it happened. Jocelyn Anderson, my glorious mother, died on April 17th, 2016 at 1:05 p.m. She is remembered by anyone who met her. And then he signed it, Anderson, Rick, Joe's kid. So I sent out a tweet to him to say, condolences and sorry. He hasn't been on Twitter, though, in forever. And it kind of drives us all crazy.
Well, he might not be on Twitter often right now because of everybody messaging him and everything.
Sure.
For his input.
He hasn't been on in a couple of years at this point. Since before I met him last year. He, because that was one of the things Kate and I were talking about. He has to, he says he wants to be more chatty with everybody who loves and supports him. That's the way. That's a good way to do it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I digress. So that's sadly his latest. He had said in
really
interviews. Oh yeah, I can't even imagine. I'm fortunate that I have both my parents, and I can't picture not. He also mentioned he did some conventions in Australia, I believe.
Yeah, I think the next convention he's supposed to do or did was the final Stargate Con up in the Vancouver area.
Yeah, he's going to be there. But yeah, I check out the videos and the pictures and all, and like I said, it's very tough for me to watch people ask him the same. He's always wonderful. I just want to hug him all the time.
It's rough seeing the same questions being asked every single.
So classy. So I want to hug him for that, for handling it with such grace and joy. But I also want to hug him because I can only imagine if I'm sick of hearing them.
He's got to be driven nuts about it.
Oh, God. Anyway, back to the whole thing. This is the rant that I wanted, a discussion, let me say, that I wanted to have with you, my friend. Based on, and I was talking to Cindy about this, and I'm not saying this because I'm partial. I'm saying this because it's true. The highest standard of television writing, characterization, just mythology, was those 8 years of Stargate SG-1. That is a standard that Cindy and I compare every other show to. Again,
yeah, the first 8 years.
First 8 years.
Yeah.
Now, because Richard Dean Anderson was behind the camera making sure everybody got a say and everybody kept the same vision and didn't do anything cliche, which all of that happened as soon as he walked out the door. You got obnoxious cliche characters.
Mm-hmm.
Other rants we can go on, but just go back, everybody, and listen to previous episodes and you'll hear much more on that topic. But Cindy and I always talk about that. Here's a good example. Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
We love Sleepy Hollow. However, and she is one of the Facebook managers of their page. Okay, so she's got a real invested interest in the show anyway.
Now, you're caught up on the show, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jess and I are not, but we had, because somebody was stupid and they didn't bother to ask, we had certain things spoiled for us.
All right. Well, I'm not going to mention specifics, so don't worry about that.
And the realization of something the lead actress had the chick that played Abby had remarked. Apparently, she had to ask permission to follow the Twitter account or something like that, and it's like, wow, that's really screwy.
Well, we can, once you're all caught up, we'll actually discuss that.
We'll discuss that. All right.
On the other podcast, but because I do want to chat with you about that. But
this weekend's catch up weekend for a lot of stuff for Jess and I. So
good. But because of that, Cindy and I, since the second season, where we've talked about this, the showrunners and the writers were not paying attention. We're not thinking. We're not using their characters correctly. We're kind of messing up the mythology, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not going to get into specifics because that's you understand. We can talk about Doctor Who and their lack of strong mythology or contradicting stuff. But there are other shows. I said, and this applies to this new series coming out, and CBS in particular. There needs to, you know how there is the oath that doctors take?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Hippocratic Oath, yeah.
Hippocratic Oath. Very good. There should be, and I'm not kidding, I'm not being facetious, I swear I mean this with all of my soul, a showrunner's oath. Because, and that could also spill down into the writers, but ultimately it's the guy at the top of the ladder who can direct writers and say yes or no to things. So I call it the showrunner's note. Because that is really their point. Their whole purpose of existence is to make sure, okay, we're going off track with this. You're writing that, but you know what I mean? You're steering the ship.
Mm-hmm.
There should be an oath that they have to uphold to keep the quality of a show. You set a foundation, you set the mythology, and this really applies with all shows, but we always use it with like sci-fi shows, Quantum Leap, Highlander.
Stuff that takes place in some kind of fanciful universe.
Right, but they have boundaries is my point.
Yeah.
Sam Beckett, unless it's somebody who's related to him, cannot go back to the Stone Age. He cannot leap past his own lifetime.
Yeah.
Highlander, you have to behead someone in order to kill them and the quickening and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That whole thing, okay? We are noticing more and more, and especially in today's age, since shows like Lost, The Walking Dead, these are shows where they go, look it, these are edge-of-your-seat shows, right? These are that good type shows where you're like, shut up, everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Every time somebody speaks, I have to hear what they say. I have to watch the way their head turned. Everything matters.
Yeah.
Those are the shows where people are going, look it, we have rules and we are not straying from them at all.
Right.
Right? Shows like Sleepy Hollow is a great example of a show that we love, but we're going, who the heck is, who's in charge of the show? Yeah. They either write something that conflicts with a prior season or even in the same season.
Their continuity experts are asleep at the wheel.
Sleep at the wheel. They're not doing press. They've never done many interviews for the show. They don't show up at conventions like they should. You never get you get maybe one or two of the main stars showing up, on daytime TV, on nighttime TV. I have never seen, holy crap, can't think of his name.
Tom Mason?
Tom Mason. Yeah, Tom Mason has never been on a late night talk show to say, hey, watch my show. They don't do that. So the people who are supposed to be advertising for Fox, how often do you see a commercial for that show?
Well, I don't have cable, so never.
Okay. Guess what? If you had cable, the answer would be pretty much the same. Unless it was
I'm getting that impression that from what it sounds like, that show's advertising department has just totally screwed the pooch. Whereas you've got a show like Gotham and the actors are helping drive it. The Facebook pages are, they're beating the drum, so to speak. I mean,
yes.
Hell, CW and Supergirl, they have their people that are beating that drum, But yeah,
everybody's doing their part because you love the show, you want it to succeed, and Sleepy Hollow I keep using as the example, but it's one of those that should be easy to just. It's a great show. Tom Meissen is without him, there's no show.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is make people aware of this guy. Get him on late night talk shows. Get him at a convention more often. Like Cindy has gone to 3 or 4 conventions with the plan to meet him. And he's not there. Okay.
He was at Dragon Con last year and Jess got to meet him and she said he was an absolute blast.
Yep.
He was very personable and I think she'd even made the remark, it's weird that we're not seeing him out more. And like I said earlier, like I was trying to allude to earlier, I'd be willing to bet whoever their development team for that particular project, they must not have a full grasp of the plot.
Well, they now have, this year they had a brand new showrunner. The previous showrunner was a sweet guy, but made stupid mistakes. Like, loved the show, but wasn't paying attention to the specifics.
Okay.
When you have Cindy going, wait a minute, how come that character has that necklace when the other character was buried with it at the end of last season? That sort of thing.
Gotcha.
It's just stupid. But from what she said, the guy who's now the showrunner is more about him and his ego than caring about the project. He's not in the room with the writers going, okay, ready? Here we go. Let's create something wonderful. He's not there. He's an asshole.
He's an ego.
Yeah. And it shows.
Right.
I guess somebody was asking him questions and he just kind of was like, whatever, I'm sure it'll work out fine. Like, no, dude.
No, you got to be hands-on.
So, I mean, I'm hoping to get, if Tom Meissen ever comes back to Twitter or whatever, I want to get a hold of him because he got to meet Scott Bakula and I want to talk to him because he loves the same stuff we love. Quantum Leap, Back to the Future. He's fun. He's one of us. And
yeah.
He I think I told you, he was on during the first season, he did like a VH1 interview where he was Skyping with somebody, and it was some teenage girl who's like, and who does your hair, and and he had mentioned about, I love Quantum Leap. Oh, as a matter of fact, I even got to meet Scott Bakula, meaning there's your opening. Well, this little girl doesn't know who that is and doesn't care to go, really? Tell me more. She goes, let's go to some questions. And then I'll never forget the look on his face of, we're not going to go down that road. Okay. And he kind of smiled, laughed at how she didn't care.
Right.
I mean, he's very polite and, very charming and a gentleman. But at the same time, I wanted to go, I would listen to your story. I want to hear. So if and when we get him on an episode, that's the first question I'm asking. Tell me Scott Bakula's story. Anyway, I'm thinking about the CBS shows. CBS, since, they don't have the CSI train pushing them along.
No, really, they only have NCIS. I don't even know if they have that CSI cyber show on anymore.
I think it is, but who cares? Nobody's watching it. Nobody's watching it. That was one of those shows that
it was so drastically different than the regular CSI. It was too jarring for people to get behind.
And also, I can't stand Patricia Arquette. on that freaking show. I don't know her personally, but holy crap. They would do the whole backdoor pilot of, hi, I'm on the normal CSI. Hey, I came in from out of town. She was on like 2 or 3 episodes before she got her own spin-off when they even, I guess, had planned it from the beginning. But I guess they thought they would like wiggle her in and we'd love her, and then I can't wait to see more adventures. I wanted to punch her in her face. I hated that character.
Yeah, and I think it's the character. Nothing against the actress.
Right.
I think the character was not.
She was smarmy.
Flushed out properly.
She's smarmy. I didn't like, she thought her poop was ice cream. You know what I mean? You can use that.
Sorry.
No.
That just reminded me of a video I saw on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I'll shoot the link to you so you can be as mentally disturbed as I am. Thanks to it.
But now I'm thinking about their other shows and how they handle them. Hawaii Five-0, just the writing is so phoned in. Like, I'm done watching it. I was done last season.
Mm-hmm.
I started to watch last season and went, oh, I hate this. They have not changed anything. The only good thing they had was the dynamic between the 2 leads. And now they're going, okay, wait, every episode we have to make sure we have 5 minutes of them together bickering. Ha, ha, ha. But then everything else is let's have the Navy guy throw himself over a boat unnecessarily to tackle a guy. Make sure he has his shirt off. And then in the end, we'll all go to the heavy guy's shrimp shack and eat something. And it just became so...
Formulamatic.
Yeah, like, who's in a room? And then, again, these are the thoughts that go through my head. If you could write a show, or I could write a show, is that not a dream job that you would dive into and make your time?
I would go insane. That would be fantastic.
And you would make sure that you were never phoning it in. These guys, I don't even know if they're ever in the same room together. They're like, all right, look at. Let's hit the same plot points. There's trouble. McGarrett and the gang are doing something together. They get a call. They go out. They investigate it. Some point, McGarrett takes his shirt off, does something unnecessarily heroic, and that's a wrap, right? In the end, we'll get them back together, and we'll have a good laugh, and freeze frame, show's over, and credits. That's an episode. There is nothing surprising of that show anymore.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other shows on there, but the idea is basically CBS. That should be their motto. It's not Welcome Home. It's CBS. I watch Elementary because I love Sherlock, but man, that is so wordy right now. It's not. I'll watch it to the end. I don't care, but they have a way of whoever's writing that show thinks they're clever. Oh man, they are going fast paced and they don't care if the viewer is following along. Cindy would write reviews. If you look up Cindy Jackson reviews, everybody, you will see her reviews of Elementary. She would have to record it, rewatch it right away, pause it multiple times to write down people's names and what the plot was supposed to be, and have that sucker done and sent off and online by 6 o'clock the next morning.
Oh, wow.
So, which, hey, she wanted Sleepy Hollow, but somebody already nabbed that. We were watching it. Now, if she's writing it, that means I'm writing it, kind of. I'm not putting down the words, but I'm paying just as close attention because she'll come up and ask me things.
Yeah. You're her second set of eyes.
Exactly. There was an episode in particular that we watched, and we both watched it twice, and went, whoa! How did they jump from this to that conclusion? They never explain how they found the body under the house. Like, it was just, what? And ever since that, I've noticed, like, the writers, or whatever, are just going, all right, quickly, throw that name in there. And a lot of the detection work is done off screen, where Sherlock goes, yeah, I have a friend. He's part of that computer organization. He got me this answer. Okay, you do that all the time, though. I want to see Sherlock be Sherlock.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him go, yeah, so I have some contacts. They told me what this answer was. Really?
Wow.
Oh, that is what has been going on.
Wow.
So, and not much necessarily happening in their personal lives. Little bits here and there. But everything else is just CBS. We don't really care anymore. We don't have CSI. There it is. There's another one. CBS. We gave up.
There you go. Yeah.
Right? I mean, just so what network is going to host this new MacGyver show? All right. CBS.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I watched NCIS and NCIS New Orleans, but I think beyond those two and Supergirl, that's all I've...
Supergirl is the only one that I watch.
Yeah.
And because I tried watching NCIS, and we talked about this.
Yeah, I know. I know your feelings on NCIS, yeah.
Oh, man, it's too cutesy for me. And that's the other thing that seems to be the trend, not just for CBS, but many, 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 many shows. It's, we're zany. We're going to get shot at, and there's this gruesome murder, but here comes my quippiness. Like, shut up. Just shut up. Not everything needs to be as dark as CSI, but it also doesn't need to be a CW show.
Yeah.
Excluding, of course, the great Flash, which does not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch Flash Supergirl crossover?
I did, and I am actually very disappointed in the Flash.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do tell.
You're caught up, I presume. Okay. In what episode did the Supergirl crossover episode take place?
The last one.
Do you know?
Yes, I do. The last one.
Show
him. He has the hunt. Not the one from this week, but the one from last week.
Yeah, he disappears for a split second and comes back.
Yep.
No reference to where he was or nothing.
Well, he does. He does say something, to be fair. And I'm trying to look at it in I know where you're going with this, and I agree, but at the same time, I'm like, let's see what happens next, because Supergirl we were told all the new shows on CBS are definitely getting picked up. However, there has not been an official announcement for Supergirl, which would be insane of them to not have another season.
Well, I have my suspicions that Supergirl may not be on CBS.
This is where I was going.
Because CBS and CW are owned by the same company.
Yes, so they may switch it over to CW.
Yeah, which would be phenomenal, as long as they keep the same writing teams and everything.
Exactly.
Now, granted, they'd still have to treat her as if she's on a separate Earth, but...
No, they don't.
Yeah, they would.
No. The only reason they're doing that now, okay?
Is because it's on CW.
It's two different networks.
Yeah, CBS.
Right? And they've already established, in the Arrowverse, it's because of that accelerator. Oh, wait, no. Now it's also because Earth 2 is bleeding over. Very smart. Now, what they could do very easily is do an episode where they go, wait a minute, all these, parallel Earths are, or at least some of them, are starting to phase together.
Collapse onto themselves, yeah. Or collapse together, yeah.
If they do move it over to CW, there's an episode fixed.
Yep, there's the pilot. There. The multi-part pilot for the first episode of each show.
There you go.
3-night event. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom. I'm with you, right?
Actually, 4-night event, because they'd be able to do it with Legends of Tomorrow. That could be how they resolve it.
Sure. And they're actually planning on it, or at least, Grant Gustin has said, you know what I'd like to see? Or was it him or was it Supergirl? Melissa Benoist. She was like, you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to have another crossover and also have it with Legends and Arrow. Huh? Last time they did that, we got the Flash crossing over. Yep. So from her mouth to God's ears.
Well, I like to think they know something we don't.
Typically they do, and I love them for it. Yeah. I love that I can have such faith in them.
Now, Arrow this week.
Haven't watched it. It was on last night, and that's when I go perform.
Right. Arrow was pretty good.
Really? Because it typically isn't.
Well, it was pretty good comparatively to the rest of the season.
Last season was the worst of all of them. This season is a little better, but this
season, I'm still not seeing the fun energy like we were told we were going to get.
Well, because he's still trying to be Batman, and it's stupid.
Yeah.
Stop being miserable.
They just, I get frustrated with that show for partially that reason. And it's like, guys, come on. And I pointed something out to Jess, and she's like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm observant. It's not brought up, or it's not a plot point for last night's episode, but do you remember Raish telling Ollie that Damien Dark stole water from the Lazarus Pit?
I don't, but I don't, and I wouldn't. I believe you.
Well, I recall this, and hopefully one of our listeners, if they, take the time to listen this far, they'll be like, he's right, he's not completely crazy. I remember this because it was one of those, I wonder if that's setting up for something off in the distance in the future,
Well,
but I did.
Tied it in with Legends, which I thought was very clever. Now, I hated the choice of, one, how they handled Ra's al Ghul.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Ra's al Ghul, the idiots, the way they say it. It's Raish. We've known that since the animated series, Ra's al Ghul.
Yep.
That's somebody at DC, Warner Brothers, who should go, whoa, it's been officially Raish for 20 years. Stop it.
Yeah. Now, Jess and I are behind on the DC Legends of Tomorrow as well. I think we're like 2 or 3 episodes.
Okay, well, they did an episode with Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, it was right before before Jess and I got sidetracked with convention and other stuff.
Sure. Well, I hated the choice of actor. I hated because there was just no bravado with that guy. Like Raish is supposed to be basically evil Batman.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He is an imposing figure who, when he walks into the room, you go, oh, crap.
Yeah, well...
This guy walks in, I'm like, oh, I can just push you over.
Do you remember who was originally rumored to be Raish?
On Arrow?
Yeah.
No.
Oder Fair?
Did
you ever see the Resident Evil movies?
Yes.
He was...
yes, okay. He was in The Mummy.
Yeah, he was in The Mummy, I believe, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic. He's a good
choice. He's got that dark hair, and somebody had actually photoshopped the gray at his temples.
And
dude,
who made you mustache?
Yep. He would have rocked it.
I agree.
He would have rocked that role because he's got that physicality to him, but he's also got that odd look about him, too.
Well, that's the other thing that overall my whole point was there needs to be some sort of oath that these people, and again, I'm not just picking on CBS. I'm talking about
all networks have it. All networks, all shows, they all have somebody that's not.
I can only count on my hand a handful of shows, and this was the other thing that I said to Cindy. We're watching, I guess it was Walking Dead. And again, that's one of those where you put the kids to bed. We're not talking. We're not looking at our phones. We are literally on the edge of our seats watching this and everything that's said. I said to her, didn't you miss having a show like this? And she's like, yeah. And we thought, okay, what were the last ones that we've had like that? Lost and Stargate Universe. That was one of those, shut up, everything means something, pay attention.
Yeah.
Right? And because before that, of course, was the other Stargate shows, but Lost, I can't think of another show other than those, but I'm sure there have been.
Oh, yeah.
That,
sure.
and everything is so well done. Lost, they're like, we're doing this many episodes, this is the story we're telling, and told the network we're not dragging crap out. I love them for that.
Yeah.
Because they had a vision, and they stuck to it. And it shows that's a show that I can pop on now and be just as invested.
Yep. Yeah, a show that I wish they would have done that. Supernatural. Supernatural at the
It's
end of
still on.
Yeah, at the end of the 5th season, the showrunner said, "I've told my story."
Yep.
And as he was, pretty much ready to be done with the show, the powers that be said, "Nope, we're going to renew it."
Well, yeah.
Now we are 6 seasons beyond that, and this season hasn't been...
They got another season coming.
Yeah, this season hasn't been that bad comparative to other seasons, because they're starting to rekindle those sparks, where the episodes are feeling like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they also seem to love the idea of throwing 2 plots together throughout the season, and, I think that can be a bad thing.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Once Upon a Time, I'm on the verge of just getting ready to give up on, because it just, I don't know.
I never gave it a chance. So
it just seems forced, and apparently just recently they upset fans by taking a character that they had never given any kind of inkling that they were homosexual and made them homosexual. Now, I'm not saying that,
I gotcha. There's an agenda at work.
Yeah.
Opposed to...
It's like, okay, I'm okay with you guys doing that, but don't make it seem forced. You'd already established another character, 2 years ago.
Right.
She was that way. And you've kind of swept her under the rug. This could have been a perfect opportunity to bring her back, bring her forward, make her relevant. But no, you just shoved her in the closet like the dirty secret.
But don't you wish that more shows treated their programming the way Supernatural does? Think of how many shows got yanked where you're like, what the? Why? What? Like, okay, the ever classic, besides Stargate Universe, before that, Firefly.
Oh, God, yeah.
That freaking loyalty from the I mean, hey, I don't watch Supernatural, but I know people who do.
Yeah.
You included.
Case in point.
But I respect and admire the faith and they don't give up on a show. And okay, so it's gone through some troubles. You're lucky enough to have a show where you can go, all right, well, this season wasn't as great as that one, but the next one could be fantastic.
Yeah, or these were the elements from this season that just shine brightly. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Stargate Universe should still be around. I mean, holy crap, man.
Yeah, they should have at least been around for a 5th season.
Exactly.
At the very least.
And Sleepy Hollow should be around for at least 7, because they've said they have they've actually said 7 years of trials and tribulations and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So you've already set up at least that.
Yeah, you've set up that time frame, yeah.
But and I think we're starting to see a shift where, because of downloads and, next day viewing, where I think the networks are starting to go, oh wait, so they don't have to watch it live. That doesn't count as much as it used to.
Absolutely.
So, therefore, ergo. So, I'm hoping that they do renew Supergirl, renew Sleepy Hollow, etc.
Well, I know they've renewed Lucifer, which I absolutely enjoy that show.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Crap, I saw you dressed up as him, and Cindy and I went, really? Because, again, it's based on a comic that I didn't read, but besides the good Catholic boy wanting to naturally say no, I gave it a shot.
Okay.
I'm not going to blindly dislike something, because it's supposed to have charm, and look, it's Lucifer being good. Right? There's some hope for humanity.
Right.
And from the trailer, I'm thinking, okay, it could be fun, it could be, but, and again, I know this is what they're going for, but for me, I'm like, he's slimy, again, Lucifer, but he's not charming enough for me. Like, I thought there would be that level of, oh, he's such a son of a bee, but boy, I like him anyway. You know what I mean? We watched an episode and went, well, we tried, because he can't badmouth the show without giving it a shot.
Yeah, and I can respect the fact that you actually took the time to try and watch it.
Sure.
I can't exactly put into words what about it I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's hilarious that, me being the business owner that I am, I have had a couple people ask me if I'm going to do like the ID card for the detective, and I've told them I have to see if I can get a good screenshot of what, because I'm sure she's whipped out her credentials at some point.
Yeah.
But when I sat down and I watched the first episode, I looked at my wife and I said, I want that coin. And she goes, yeah, right. Good luck finding it. I'm like, yeah, no. I will make that coin if I need it.
Do you know what I do? I kind of have a business.
It's like, don't challenge me, woman. 3 weeks ago, I had the coins on my website.
There you go.
As of yesterday, I no longer have them on my website because I'm sold out.
Very good.
I've had people emailing me. I had some dude call me on my phone and say, where are the coins? I saw they were on your website. I went to go place an order and they're not there anymore. I'm like, calm down. They'll be back.
Mention your business so people who are listening.
I will gladly do that here in 1 second. So I had to explain to them the reason I had to pull it was because I had, I'd only had 100 of the darn things, and they flew just like hotcakes.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those interested, commissionedcredentials.com. I will make sure that the link is in the description of the episode so you can click on it and take it over.
Nice.
But we do all kinds of ID cards. We're slowly getting into things like metal badges, metal coins. I'm also getting ready to, in May, to have the Walking Dead Rick Grimes King County badge, which is actually available for pre-order on our website, so for those interested. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. I did not anticipate that to be such a hot item.
Mm-hmm.
And it dumbfounds me.
Well, one of the points that I was thinking about, and if you do, anybody who does any sort of research, a show doesn't just get thought up and made. It's amazing that shows make it to air with all the hoops that the creator creates the show, a developer develops it, but what that means is they may change some things. They may add some things. Okay, so now you're already possibly diluting the original idea, sometimes for the better, most of the time for the worse.
And sometimes just really doesn't have enough impact on it.
Sure, if you're lucky. Then, each episode, you have different people writing this show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with every episode, it could take a hard left to become a pile of crap where the previous episode was fantastic. Flash, I think it was Kevin Smith. I listened to his podcast, Fat Man on Batman, and he finally started watching The Flash and loved it and is directing an episode, which will be on in a couple of weeks.
I was going to say, I think it's actually coming up next week, I think.
Yeah. So, boy, which means that turnaround on that show is really quick because he just finished it.
I was going to say, he just finished it like a week or two ago, I think.
So.
And I think I just saw somebody had commented, one of the cast members had said they finished filming the final episode for the season like today or yesterday. So, my God, yeah.
Well, what he said, and I love the way he said this, was it was either him or Mark Bernardin, who's the co-host, said the reason that The Flash is so darn good is because every episode feels like it's the last episode of the season where something epic and big happens.
The stakes are pretty high, yeah.
Right? They don't phone in. You know how you can watch any series and go, yeah, all right, well, that one was kind of a slower paced one, or that one didn't have a lot of, this and that, or what. The Flash is just go, 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 go every episode.
It builds upon itself, absolutely.
Okay, so now a writer can ruin a show with every episode. Because of that, let me bring it back home again. A showrunner is crucial. Stephen Moffat You know why his name is known? Because he's in charge of freaking Doctor Who, and when people love it, they love him, and if they don't, they turn on him.
Oh, absolutely. He had to deactivate his Twitter account because people were being stupid. They were sending him death threats.
Without a doubt. So,
and he's known for 2 programs, Sherlock and Doctor Who.
2 shows, which, by the way, he loves. He's not phoning it in. It hit or miss.
Yeah, and
it his all. Right?
Yep.
So, he's a great example of someone who, again, whether you like it or not, he cares about what he's doing.
He's passionate about it.
Either way. So, you either love it or hate it. We need to have a showrunner oath, because from the moment it's created, hopefully that creator sticks around.
Mm-hmm.
Or hands it over to someone. I'm thinking of Stargate SG-1. The people who created Stargate had nothing to do with the television show, and might I say, thank God for that.
Well, and speaking of that,
with this,
apparently Devlin, the guy who created the movie, wants. Well, I have a feeling it's dependent on how
Independence Day
2 happens. He may want to delve back into Stargate, and
he wants to do another trilogy.
He wants to finish out his trilogy, yeah, and it's like, dude,
don't, for love of God.
Don't.
You're never going to get better than SG-1. It's not my opinion.
If he wants to do a big screen adaptation of something else of his work, leverage. Give us something leverage, like
sure,
a 2-hour mega all-out adventure.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, look at you want to. If anybody who has the DVD of Stargate the movie, okay, listen to them talk about it. The track commentary. Thank you. I listened to it because I was waiting to hear them reference SG-1. Towards the end of the movie, somebody says something like, now they have the television show. We have nothing to do with the television. Oh, no, we don't have. The 2 guys, no, we have nothing to do with the television show. I'm like, what are you scoffing at? That is a show that has a legacy that you guys have come nowhere near touching.
Yeah, and realistically, had that show never existed, Stargate would have become a cult classic that would have only been loved by a handful of people.
And if you watch it, it feels like a pilot to a television show. It's kind of a dragged out 1-hour adventure that they dragged out into 2. Mm-hmm. But it feels like the start of a television, which was great because once Brad Wright and Cooper and RDA got the show, they went, okay, so this is a year later. Let's just pick it up where it left off. Thank God. That was great because now nothing was thrown out the window.
Yep, and I love at some point in the first season, O'Neill's talking to a reporter.
Oh, yes.
And he goes, that's 2 L's, not 1, not the other guy.
There's another O'Neill, but he has no sense of humor.
Yeah. Yes, brilliant. Yeah.
Which, and that, everybody's heard us go on about him ad-libbing. I love that crap. I absolutely love it. It really made the show pop. And it's funny too because, and I thought of this, going on a different rant. The other day I thought about, I can tell, remember during the 9th and 10th season, where RDA they had him come in and basically wave from the door?
Yeah, he was there very, very...
Right, but remember at the end of the first 3-parter of the 9th season, he shows up and Danny goes, what the heck are you doing here? He's like, oh, hi to you too, and he had popped in to say hi. You can tell where he didn't get to ad-lib. Because when they try to write for him, and he's gracious and says, no, they've really adapted their writing to try and fit my humor into it. It's a very brief scene, and you can feel the stagnant script where he didn't have time to relax enough doing this. And he's saying his lines, but he's saying his lines. He is not flowing like he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody else ever noticed that, but as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, no, he's not ad-libbing. He's strictly doing what they're telling him to do, and there's no room for fun or natural pacing, a flow.
Yeah.
And it felt odd. Same thing with the Wave from the Door episode.
Yeah.
You feel like, okay, you people should have let him be in this entire episode. Don't just have him come in towards the end. Hey kids, from the door. Make a comment about going through the old orifice one more time. We call it that, don't we? No. Let him do his thing.
Yeah.
But again, that's a whole different rant we can have. But I know there's more points that I want to make about that whole writer or showrunner's oath. My point was, too, someone who's going to go, okay, through this whole rocky terrain, from creation to development to each freaking week, whoever's writing this needs to be, or she, in that room steering the ship. Because it's so easy for it to go off course.
Absolutely.
Right?
And then just end up not even being consistently good.
Now, here's what I see could happen with this reboot. Oh, God, I get vomit in my throat. I'm sorry, because if this show turns out fantastic, I can't finish the thought. Sorry.
You will willingly eat crow in that event.
No. I will marry the crow. I will. Look, let me tell you, it's not going to. It's never going to touch. It's not going to touch Richard Dean Anderson.
Yeah, I have severe doubts. Yeah,
but no. Let me be as gracious and hopeful as I can. Understanding the way I knew SG-1 was never going to be as good after that 8th season without RDA there. Mm-hmm. Okay. I didn't expect it to make such stupid mistakes and go down the crapper in so many. Every episode had a moment where I'm like, nope, RDA would have fixed that, and you could feel it. You go, nope, they did that because Rick wasn't there to say no. Let me think about it in this way. Knowing that the show, if they're stupid enough, and I'm saying it, I'm not going to try and be gracious, if they're stupid enough to not connect it to the original series, okay, I already know it's going to suffer. But, let's hope it's at least vibrant in its own way, where people will, and I'm telling you this is what's going to happen, best case scenario, yeah, it's good, but I mean, it's not the original, it's not, they're always going to go, well, it's not Richard Dean Anderson.
It's not the original, yeah.
They might as well subtitle the show that right now, because that is how people are going to remember this.
Either they've got to completely knock our socks off right out the gate and make it be able to stand on its own, or they have to connect it. Those are their only options. If they don't wow us right out that gate, put a fork in the project. It's done.
And you know what they're hoping for, what they originally hoped for before they even cast Richard Dean Anderson. We're going to get them on the McGimmick. If we can get people going, wow, what's he going to do next? That will not sustain a show. Had it not been Richard Dean Anderson, the show would have not lasted because you get tired of that one-trick pony. Mm-hmm. It's because of Richard Dean Anderson, his personality, that the show is iconic. Therefore, you get this show. Do you think, no offense to Joshua Till or anybody else on that cast, do you think any of them are going to come anywhere near as endearing as Rick?
Probably not.
Not even a chance on God's green earth. I have not met anybody who I go, oh man, he's right up there with Rick.
Yeah, I could possibly see George Eads, but not in the role that they have him in.
No, George Eads was a great Nick Stokes. He was a great Robin to Grissom's Batman. I'm sorry, let me be more. He became Nightwing.
Yeah.
He did fly off on his own, but he always referenced Grissom. There, perfect analogy.
Absolutely.
MacGyver is Richard Dean Anderson. Therefore, okay, the show will not be that great. But does it have to suck? No. It can be fun and full of energy, the way I had hoped Hawaii 5-0 in that pilot. It gave me it was so full of excitement and fun.
And it's funny you mentioned that. I was actually talking to one guy in at work. Hawaii 5-0, they should have done it where they weren't reusing any of the original cast or original characters. Actually had it be, these are the next force or the next police officers coming in. Kind of like what TNG did with TOS. This isn't Kirk. This isn't Spock. It's not McCoy. It's a new group going into the same setting, just X amount of time after.
Right. And again, my problem with it wasn't even if they connected it to the original. It was just that they're phoning in the writing now, where I watched it for, 5 years maybe, and just went, oh, now I hate you people. I've given you
I couldn't get into it after the first episode. What's it called? There's another one that I watched. Oh, Scorpion. I watched the first episode and I wanted to chuck something through my TV.
Yep, can't do it.
I'm sorry, but the suspension of disbelief, I would have had it hit by a freaking semi-truck just to watch it.
What? It's out of curiosity. What network is that on?
Oh, I'm sorry. You may know it by its other name, CBS.
We don't care anymore.
Yep.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. And it is. It's that sort of, I don't know who to blame specifically, but that sort of like, all right, we got our gimmick. All right, so we don't really care about making every episode spectacular. We'll get a formula. We will get a formula, like it's the 1970s sitcom, and just keep cranking out Gilligan's Island.
Now, I know your feelings on NCIS, but the one reason I stick with the main NCIS show is Mark Harmon. Mark Harmon is very similar in mentality to Richard Dean Anderson. He's very hands-on. You could see the shows where he's got more of his focus on. NCIS has that feel for the main show. New Orleans, again, has that feel.
As long as they stop having poor Scott Bakula try and do a New Orleans accent.
That part's amusing. I actually watch it mostly for LaSalle and CC. The black chick that's the coroner.
Sure.
She was on Warehouse 13. I adore that actress. So, I mean, I watch the shows not necessarily for the lead, although I do like Scott Bakula. Sure. He has his moments, but you can tell that the people that have sway are invested. Mm-hmm. Like NCIS, they do have a lot of good story arcs that go on. And they do have some darkness to them.
See,
but I also get what you were saying earlier about the whole tongue-in-cheekiness and.
Yeah, I don't need the cutesy. I don't need you're either going to naturally be entertaining and cute, but if you smirk at the camera and do a little dance because everybody loves me, shut up. I'm done. I can't. I have no patience for it. Cindy has watched a couple shows where they start to do that. And I go, nope. Leverage, she watches.
Yeah.
She says I'm going to love it when I catch up, but there's so many things on. It's on at 10 o'clock, and I'm like, no, I'm not investing in another freaking TV show. That and Blind Spot. Blind Spot, I watched 5 episodes, but it fell behind.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I'll probably catch that when it's on Netflix.
Me too.
Well, the nice thing is Leverage, you can watch the entire series on Netflix.
Well, there you go.
Because I was talking to a friend of mine. She wants to do a Parker costume from the show.
Parker,
blonde-haired thief, skinny.
Wait! I'm sorry. Leverage, not the right one.
Oh,
not the right show. It's a new show this season, based on the Bradley Cooper movie.
Limitless.
Son of a b. That's the one I meant.
Okay.
Limitless. That's one that I watched an episode or two.
It's like
Yeah.
suddenly wicked smart and all that.
And the little clips I see, it's a little too, oh, he's zany. He aggravates his coworkers. It's, again, NCIS type shows have ruined my potential enjoyment of, or tolerance, I should say, of that. But I have to be fair and go back to it at some point because she swears I'm going to love it.
I'm not familiar, or I'm not sure about that one because I really enjoyed the Limitless movie. And from what I understand, this one is sort of tied to it.
No, it's definitely tied to it. Bradley Cooper is in it as his character.
Okay.
So he's like the guy who's, basically paying him to be what he is, and like, you know, I'm your financial source. Keep your mouth shut. Don't tell anybody this, but you know, this was me, and now you're going to be my secret agent type of character.
So he's his protege, basically.
Basically, and he pops up every couple episodes.
I like Bradley Cooper as an actor. I think he's got roles that he just shines in.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give him credit because he showed up from the movie to be on the TV show once in a while.
Yeah, and that says a lot about how much he's interested.
Right.
Vested, I should say.
And I think we've talked about this. It's very clear that in the last, 10 years since shows like Lost, TV is much better than movies now. Where it used to be movies, you're always trying to climb to, if you're on a TV show, if you're lucky, it'll become a movie. Whereas now, because the writing and acting is so good, you're better off on a television show where you can tell a longer story and get characterization.
You have more time to get creative on a show. Movie is that quick, easy, fast paycheck.
There's your 2-hour commercial that costs a lot of money to do. Yeah, exactly.
And like, I forget what actor I can't remember which actor it was, but they had said, "Oh yeah, I absolutely adore doing movies, but you can't beat TV." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean you can't beat TV?" He goes, "Well, one, it's guaranteed work unless your show gets canceled, but it's stable."
Right. And residuals are fantastic.
Yeah. He goes, now, residuals for movies and stuff are one thing, but yeah, absolutely.
Look at the guy, speaking of Hawaii Five-0. The original actor, after that show, retired and stayed in Hawaii.
Yeah.
He didn't have to act the rest of his life. You know, that's
brilliant on his part.
Right? I mean, you could either be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond. What's his face? Went to school with my parents, was the priest in The Exorcist. Holy crap.
Oh, crap.
Jason Patrick's father, Jason Miller. Jason Miller, playwright, stayed in Scranton. He was Rudy. He was the coach in Rudy. He constantly was acting, constantly writing plays. But he didn't stay in L.A. or New York. He's like, I'll just travel. I'd rather be in my hometown, stay here in Scranton, live well, and not have to work. If I want to work, I could.
Yeah.
You don't have to go buy the big mansion and have, 3 Lamborghinis.
Yeah, you can have the, modest house with the, new car, not,
exactly.
death on wheels.
So listen, everybody, we're going to wrap it up, but here's what I want. Besides any wonderful donations you make or ratings and listening, of course.
Yeah. And if there's something or something, if there's an item or something that we may be able to theoretically provide you in exchange for money, that way, it's a give and take type thing. Let us know. I know you had said something about T-shirt designs and stuff.
I have a whole bunch of merchandise for this and the Never Gets Old podcast and Harmony Constant, my band, on Redbubble. If you ever goes to Redbubble, types in the MacGyver podcast, you will have items pop up that you can purchase. You can show your love, support there. But yeah, if there's something you'd like to see and more accessible and quicker for us, if there's a topic you want us to talk about, if there's an episode you want us to go through, do that. And also let us know what your thoughts are on this upcoming series, because I don't know if you picked up on the vibe that we're putting out. We're not too hopeful. We, again, wish them all the best in the world. I hope it sets some sort of
I'm looking to create one wicked drinking game off of it, but that's just me.
I don't think you'll have the time.
Probably.
If it makes it through the whole hour of again, I'm bad.
I'll have to substitute water for alcohol halfway through, otherwise my liver will kill me.
And I know I sound like I'm just, oh, it's not the original, so it's going to suck. You know what? Most of the time I'd agree with you. But in this case, it's not the original, so it's going to suck.
Yeah, there's a lot of red flags that we're seeing here, so.
I am all for a brighter, newer version of something if it adds to the continuity. I cannot think of too many things where they rebooted it and I went, yeah, start from scratch.
Yeah.
That hardly has ever paid off.
Absolutely.
Your surefire way for any sort of success is to at least connect it to the original in some way.
Yeah, at least acknowledge its existence.
And in this case, you don't have Richard Dean Anderson. Again, this is our podcast. It's all about how much we adore him, but talk to the average person who doesn't have a podcast about him. He's a household name. Ask people, what is your first impression of him?
Yeah. Odds are they're going to say either MacGyver or Stargate.
But no, I mean, he's a sweet guy.
Oh, God, yeah.
Who you go, well, I want to see more of him. I watch a MacGyver episode or a Stargate episode any day of the week. You don't have him. So, again, no offense to the actors, no offense to the writers, but you are starting out 100 steps behind on what could even just be a fair show. I wish you all the best. I hope I'm wrong to some level. But, okay. Anything else you want to mention before we go?
Nope, I think that's pretty much it, because I know you've got a date, so to speak.
Yeah, me and my boy are going to watch DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
There you go.
But yeah, this will be out. And again, let us know how you're liking the, what is it? It's iTunes and Spotify.
Stitcher,
son of a bitch. That one. Stitcher, I'm learning. Yeah, let us know what you think. All right? All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Stay creative.
The MacGyver podcast is part of the Forever Adventure Network. Some original artwork by Joseph Arnold. Donations can be made at Patreon to Mac Jackson. Look for our group pages on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at MacGyver Podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review. And remember, stay creative, everyone. The Forever Adventure Network. Welcome to the adventure. Do you love action and adventure? Then you have to try the Forever Adventure Network. It has everything, from podcasts to audio series to music. It's got blogs, fan groups, comic strips, and 3 different stores for your pop culture and adventure needs. Join us today. We'll be proud to have you as part of the adventure. The Forever Adventure Network. Welcome to the adventure.